A Bloom filter is a probabilistic data structure that acts like a set, which means it supports two operations. You can add an item to a Bloom filter, and you can check, does a Bloom filter contain an item? You cannot remove items from a Bloom filter, and we'll talk about why in a moment. So when I say the Bloom filter is a probabilistic data structure, that's because the contains operation does not always give you the correct answer. It's possible that when you check to see does the Bloom filter contain an item, the Bloom filter will say, yes, I do contain the item, even when it doesn't. So why would you want to use a Bloom filter? They're useful for taking a large number of things and detecting duplicates. So for instance, say you're Twitter and you want to show 100 tweets, but you don't want to show duplicate tweets. And you're choosing these 100 tweets from thousands or millions of tweets. So you start showing them, and as you show them, you add them to your Bloom filter. And right before you show each one, you check, has it been added to the Bloom filter yet? You use the contains operation for that. And if it has been shown, according to the Bloom filter, you don't show it again. And if it hasn't, then you know it really hasn't, and it's okay to show it. So you might filter out some things that haven't been shown. Those are your false positives. But you know you'll be showing only unique tweets. Another use case for Bloom filters that's used in practice is the Chrome browser made by Google. It has a list of a large number of malicious URLs. Let me write down these use cases. No duplicate tweets, and then malicious URLs. So when you type a URL into your browser in Chrome, it has to check, is this URL on our list? And this would take some time. It would have to find the right place in the list where the item would be and to see if it's there. By using a Bloom filter, it's able to immediately rule out for most URLs having to check the list. So the way this works is before you even start using your browser, someone over at Google took a Bloom filter, and called add with the first malicious URL, and then they did it with the second URL, and so on. And they have this complete Bloom filter with all the URLs added. And now when you type in a URL, it simply checks contains the URL that you typed in. And this is either going to be true if the Bloom filter thinks it does contain it, in which case your browser does a more complete check, so it actually will go to the list here. So it goes to the list to do a more complete check to see if the URL is actually malicious. But if it returns false, then we know that the URL really is not in the list, and so it doesn't have to do the more complete check. So it saves time. In the next video, we'll talk about exactly how a Bloom filter works and what its advantages are over other approaches to the same problem.